The brilliant blue-green lotus seed detonated across the altar sky, like a god of fire descending in fury, unleashing a torrent of flames upon the land. The explosive heat transformed all of Mystic 3 heavens into a blazing furnace, the temperature soaring suddenly. What is that? Did we anger the fire god somehow? Is this his punishment? That's the direction of the Yingying mountain altar. Such a powerful energy surge. Even our strongest warriors in Mystic 3 heavens couldn't generate that. Isn't the demon annihilation ceremony happening there? How could this? Dumbstruck. Countless people across Mystic 3 heavens gazed skyward at the terrifying waves of fire rolling in from miles away, dazed and speechless. Boom! On the Yingying mountain altar, the sky above was still swirling with the remnants of the cataclysmic life and death lotus. Threads of blue-green flame radiated from the blast center, spreading outward once more. With Xiao Yan's monstrous strike, everything on the altar was obliterated, leaving the ground unrecognizable. After several minutes, as the blue-green flames gradually faded, calm returned to the skies, though the landscape was irrevocably scarred by the sacred flame's power. Space itself twisted and warped where the sacred flame had touched. In the sky, two figures hurtled downward, crashing toward the ground at breakneck speed. Thud. You insolent little brat. You've actually surprised me. One of them, snarling, landed heavily, fury laced in his voice. Crash. Not long after, both figures slammed into the earth. Cough, cough. Xiao Yan struggled to his feet, his body racked with violent coughs that brought up blood. Yingying King, you're tougher than I thought. Xiao Yan's weak voice broke the silence as he steadied himself and gazed at the battered Yingying King. Xiao Yan's face was pale. His earlier strike had drained him entirely, only wounding the Yingying King without finishing him. The Yingying King was in shambles, his body twisted and marred by Xiao Yan's life and death lotus, his muscular form deformed by the sacred flames. Despite surviving, the Yingying King had paid a steep price. Dark red blood dripped from his wounds, and his left arm had been completely vaporized in the explosion, leaving a gruesome stump. Ha ha ha. Well done, Xiao Yan. You've truly broadened my horizons. I never expected such power from the fusion of sacred flames. I assume it has something to do with that secret technique of yours. Now, hand it over. The Yingying King's lone arm exploded with dark energy as he lunged at Xiao Yan in a vicious attack. Judging by Xiao Yan's flame's force, he realized that if Xiao Yan had been just a bit stronger, it could have been his end. At his current strength, Xiao Yan was only at the mid-7-star Do D, and after igniting the heavenly flame, his power dropped to the 5-star Do D. Even in his weakened state, the life and death lotus nearly killed the Yingying King, who now saw Xiao Yan as an unexpected threat. Xiao Yan, too, was on the verge of collapse, barely holding himself up. Whoosh! Just as the Yingying King reached Xiao Yan and struck down with his palm. Clang! Yuru intervened just in time, her short blade flashing as she blocked the Yingying King's attack. Damn it! The Yingying King cursed, seeing Yuru's timely arrival. The battlefield around them had largely settled into balance, with this spot being the only point of unpredictability. To think the simplest target would turn out to be the most troublesome. The Yingying King glared at Yuru, whose strength now seemed to surpass even his own. Yingying King stepped aside, temporarily focusing on healing his internal injuries, his gaze repeatedly fixed on the 3 stone pillars. Are you all right? After forcing back Yingying King with one strike, Yuru supported Xiao Yan, a trace of concern flashing in her beautiful eyes. I'm fine. Yingying King has used the Poison Sect Soul Control Guide to seize control over the entire Mystic 3 heavens. Let's take him down first, Xiao Yan said, his voice weak and halting. All right. Yuru hesitated for a moment, but seeing the determined look in Xiao Yan's eyes, she dared not refuse. She directed her energy to the fullest, heading toward where Yingying King stood. Yingying King, this ends here. Yuru spoke softly, her tone filled with killing intent. Despite Tendo Xian's being trapped in the Blood River Bell, Yuru sensed her master's presence among them, which stirred an intense fury within her. Ha ha ha. To think that I, the mighty Yingying King, would be driven to this point. What a miscalculation. But, do you dare to kill me? As Yu approached step by step, Xinling King laughed maniacally, like a madman. Has he lost his mind? Little E and Long E exchanged confused glances. Die. Within moments, Yu reached Xinling King, raising a short blade etched with mysterious patterns, aiming it at his skull. Look at this. Just as Yu made her move, Xinling King pulled out a silver crystal from his robe. Despicable. The moment the silver crystal appeared, Yu's attack froze, a heavy pressure filling her heart. This is a soul orb, infused with the soul energy of countless powerful beings I control. With a mere thought, every one of them will perish completely. Go on, strike. Let's see if your blade is faster than my mind. Xinling King taunted, full of confidence. Damn. Seeing this, Xiao couldn't help but frown. Even he hadn't foreseen this turn of events. Xiao understood Xinling King wasn't bluffing. If they acted rashly, every one of the mystic three heavens warriors could indeed perish. Xiao, haven't you always prided yourself on being righteous? Do it. Kill me, the so-called great villain. The only price would be the lives of countless mystic three heavens warriors. Xinling King smiled faintly, locking his gaze onto Xiao. What do you want? Xiao gritted his teeth, suppressing the intense pain radiating from within his body, and asked Xinling King, Ha ha ha. Surrender the two sacred flames within you. Xinling King demanded boldly, seeing Xiao weakened state. In your dreams. Xiao replied coldly. The sacred flames were invaluable to him, and Xinling King's demand was sheer folly. However, with Xiao current power, reclaiming the soul orb from Xinling King was impossible, making the situation deeply troubling. What's that maniac up to? There seems to be something on those three pillars, noted the Devourer of Souls, who was constantly battling Xian Song while controlling the Blood River Bell. He just noticed a faint presence emanating from the pillars, but as he tried to alert Xiao, Xian Song blocked him. Then I shall ensure they all meet their end here. The strange aura on the three pillars was clearly Xinling King's hidden ace. However, it still needed more time to activate fully, so he had to delay the confrontation. The obscure energy atop the pillars was steadily drawing power from three individuals. There was no doubt that if they wanted to harness the power of the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python to suppress the sacred flame, this was the only method. Even Kai Lin herself was unaware that ever since she'd been bound to the pillars, a concealed ghostly energy had been draining her strength, suppressing the sacred flames within her and weakening the flame's power in the others. Xiao was utterly exhausted, and Yu's aura had grown faint, leaving no one to notice the changes on the pillars. How strange. Why does it feel cold? Yingying suddenly remarked, as Xiao and the others stood in a tense standoff. As a sacred flame wielder with an inherently fiery constitution, any cold sensation was unusual and likely hinted at something far from ordinary. Cold? And it feels like some of my strength has leaked, Kai Lin muttered softly, alarmed by Yingying's observation. Go ahead, try it. Xiao, unfazed by Xinling King's threats, replied with unyielding defiance. Will you just stand by and watch all of Mystic Three Heavens at this moment? I control enough people to be considered the strongest force in all of Mystic Three Heavens. If I were to lose this power, the Xinling continent would likely be reduced to nothing in an instant. Xinling King spoke once more. Don't worry, I'll save the people. The sacred flame will never fall into your hands, Xiao said coldly. The reason Xiao was delaying was to absorb medicinal pills and restore his strength. Xiao was confident that if he unleashed the life and death lotus again, he could completely obliterate Xinling King. Such arrogance. Xiao, the final victor will still be me. Ha ha ha. In the next instant, Xinling King's figure suddenly moved, transforming into a black chain that shot directly towards the stone pillar where Yingying was. No. It's the flame-hunting chain. Seeing this, the Devourer of Souls couldn't help but roar. The power of the flame-hunting chain was something the Devourer of Souls had witnessed before. It was a divine weapon capable of bypassing all defenses of the sacred flame and directly seizing its essence. If struck by this chain, one could be severely wounded or even lose all vitality in an instant. This is bad. The situation has changed. Xiao realized the shift as soon as he saw the flicker of intent on Yingying's face and shouted urgently, "Ha ha ha! Sacred flame power!" Yingying's entire body transformed into a pitch-black chain, shooting towards Yingying at a speed that took one's breath away. That strange feeling just now, it was actually absorbing my power. I let my guard down. Seeing this sudden scene, Lin realized that the chilling power Yingying mentioned was, in fact, her own energy. Yingying. Seeing Yingying's move, Shi roared, his eyes turning blood-red as he struggled desperately against the restraints of the stone pillar. Swish, swish, swish. No matter how Shi struggled, an invisible chain on the stone pillar kept binding him, preventing him from moving even an inch away. No. In the next instant, the chain transformed from Yingying was only 5 meters away from Yingying, ready to pierce through her body in the blink of an eye. Brother. Xiao. Facing the imminent threat, Yingying's face changed dramatically as she whispered in a trembling voice, "My sacred flame, return to me." Yingying's sinister voice echoed as he plunged directly into the stone pillar supporting Yingying. Thud. The sound of blood dripping, as if something had shattered. Am I dead? The entire space fell into a deathly silence as Yingying slightly opened her eyes, only to be met with a heart-wrenching scene. Xiao. Second brother. Third brother. No. Agonizing cries echoed from all directions, drawing Yingying's gaze. In her line of sight was a familiar face, pale but devoid of pain, only bearing a faintly sorrowful expression. Xiao, no. You can't die. Seeing Xiao's figure, Yingying shook her head desperately, her eyes locked onto him. For at this very moment, a massive skeletal figure roughly the size of a fist emerged at Xiao's chest. At the skeleton's center, a crimson heart was impaled by a pitch-black chain, the chain corroding everything, continuously draining Xiao's life force. Swish, swish, swish. The black chain withdrew, and Yuru charged forward to engage it, launching a fierce attack. As the black chain retreated, Xiao's heart suffered severe damage, its beat gradually weakening, the once intact heart now in shambles. I kept my promise, after all, Xiao whispered gently, his gaze fixed on the near-unconscious Yingying. Don't speak. Don't say anything more. You'll die. Yingying's eyes reddened, her nose tingling with sorrow. Lin, I'm sorry. Yingying, I'm sorry. Long E, little E, senior devourer of souls, I'm sorry. Xiao coughed up a mouthful of blood as his life force plummeted, his eyes dimming, as if hovering on the brink of death. Whoosh whoosh. At this moment, the Xiao clan's emblem emerged on Xiao's forehead, releasing a mysterious force in a futile attempt to mend his shattered heart. No. Xiao, you can't leave us like this. Xiao, you can't die. Yingying and Lin were both caught off guard by this sudden scene, desperately trying to break free from the stone pillar's restraints. Despite the overwhelming pressure emanating from the pillar, neither of the two women showed any sign of stopping. Finally, the next moment, both women managed to break free from the stone pillars, rushing to Xiao's side. They gently embraced him, and the power of the tin-colored flames and the azure sacred flame surged toward Xiao's shattered heart, trying to repair the damage. However, Xiao's breath continued to fade rapidly, almost on the verge of disappearing entirely. His life force was nearly gone, and his soul power was dispersing. If the soul power completely dissipated, even a Do god would be powerless to save him. Bastard! Get away from me! At this moment, the devourer of souls was filled with rage. With a powerful surge of energy, he knocked Xiansong back and flew quickly toward Xiao. Senior, please, I beg you, save him. As the devourer of souls energy sphere neared Xiao, Lin immediately grabbed it, her voice breaking with tears. I'll take a look. The Devourer of Souls understood the gravity of the situation and bypassed the two women, crouching down to envelop Xiao with his own power. Senior, how is he? A few breaths later, as the energy surrounding Xiao slowly dissipated, the two women couldn't help but ask. Sigh. It's difficult. Xinling King's attack, the flame hunting chain, was specifically designed to target the sacred flame. But Xiao blocked the strike for you, and his heart was completely shattered by the chain. Moreover, his vitality has almost completely vanished, and his soul power is already dissipating, the Devourer of Souls said with deep sorrow. If he hadn't been careless and allowed Xian Song to stop him, he would have never let this happen to Xiao. Senior, is there no other way? Mu Yingying still refused to give up, asking in desperation. There is only one way left. Use the power of the sacred flame to burn Xiao body, preserving his soul power. I will take his soul power to the ghost realm. Only then, there might still be a slim chance, the Devourer of Souls said, a trace of helplessness flashing in his eyes. Burn his body. Preserve his soul power. Kai Lin seemed to sense something, desperately clutching Xiao body, murmuring, Xiao, I won't let you die. Even if I have to give up my own life for yours, I won't let you die. They say my blood is from the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python, possessing supreme power. Drink it. I beg you, drink it. Kai Lin's voice became more desperate as she tore her wrist, letting the dazzling blood drip onto Xiao lips. But it still proved futile. Don't do this. Using the blood of the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python recklessly will cause irreversible harm to you. The Devourer of Souls interrupted, using a bit of his power to stop Kai Lin's frantic actions. Bastard! Let go of me. He's about to die. What's the point of holding back such great power? Kai Lin roared angrily, looking at the Devourer of Souls as he restrained her wrist. Will burning his body with the sacred flame really preserve his soul power? Mu Yingying, who had been silently watching, finally spoke up with a slight tremor in her voice. Yes, it will. Do it quickly, or it will be too late, the Devourer of Souls urged. Mu Yingying, don't you dare. Just as Mu Yingying was about to take action, Kai Lin roared again. Kai Lin, I... Mu Yingying froze for a moment, her words cut off by Kai Lin's fury. Senior, is there something you're not telling us? Kai Lin asked, a hint of suspicion in her voice. Tears welled up as she continued. Are you hiding something from us? If you burn his body, you can preserve his soul power, giving him a slim chance of survival. But once he revives, he will have no memory of either of you. The Devourer of Souls said with a slight shock, his voice tinged with regret. How could this be? Mu Yingying froze, her mind going blank. Yingying, please, I beg you, save him. Kai Lin's voice trembled as she looked at Mu Yingying, her eyes pleading. Make up your mind quickly. I can't hold on much longer. If we wait until his soul power completely dissipates, there will be nothing more we can do, the Devourer of Souls said, sensing Xiao rapidly fading soul power. All right. Mu Yingying nodded faintly, then walked up to Yin Qi. Brother, thank you for protecting me since we were little. You've always been the strongest brother in my heart. Anyway, you've tolerated my capriciousness so many times already, so just let me be a little selfish one last time. Mu Yingying slowly spoke a long sentence to Yin Qi. Could it be? Yin Qi, though sympathetic to Xiao, still harbored resentment against humans, which kept his mind sharp. When he heard Mu Yingying speak like this, a mad thought couldn't help but arise in his mind. Brother, thank you. After Mu Yingying finished speaking, her entire body emitted a faint blue flame. She then took a small step back and moved toward Xiao. Ah! Mu Yingying, don't you dare. Yin Qi couldn't help but roar when he saw this scene. His pupils filled with a crazed expression. Brother, you always told me that the human world is beautiful. Humans not only possess great wisdom, but they also have something that we, the sacred flame, have never had. Love. I used to ask you what love is, and now, perhaps I found it. After finishing, Mu Yingying suddenly held a sacred flame crystal in her palm, slowly moving toward Xiao. Mu Yingying. You'll die if you do this. Is a human worth it? Yinchi couldn't understand human emotions, but he knew that if Yingying did this, she would disappear, she would die. And Yinchi clearly didn't want to see that happen. But I just want him to live. Yingying softly spoke, then gently squeezed the sacred flame crystal in her hand, and it immediately shattered. Kailin, if possible, please never tell Xiao what happens next. Yingying finished speaking, her body flickering. Sacred flame spirit, you've suffered. As the sacred flame crystal shattered, the sacred flame spirit within Yingying's body became faint, as if it were about to fall. Maybe this is fate. Your choices are shared choice. The sacred flame spirit didn't refute Yingying this time, and softly spoke from within her body. Thank you. Yingying smiled happily and spoke. All right, combining our powers should be enough to bring him back to life. The sacred flame spirit spoke again. Let's begin. Yingying nodded, and immediately the sacred flame spirit's essence dissipated, transforming into a pool of blue liquid, which slowly appeared in Yingying's palm. Xiao, I just want you to live. Yingying directed the shattered sacred flame crystal toward the large hole in Xiaoyan's chest. The blue liquid spread over, and she smiled gently. By the name of the sacred flame list's 22nd position, the ethereal ice flame. By my blood, by my soul, by my power. Sacrifice. Yingying smiled brightly as she spoke, and as soon as the words left her mouth, her body became ethereal. In the last moment, her entire body burst into flames and, not long after, turned into a streak of blue flame, crashing into the large hole in Xiaoyan's chest. Shua shua. With Yingying's actions, Xiaoyan's body, which had already been on the brink of death, suddenly took a slight breath. Blood began to flow slowly, and even the faint sound of a heartbeat was heard. His heart began to beat powerfully, and the nearly depleted energy inside his body surged rapidly. Sigh. Watching Xiao gradually awaken, the gazes of the devourer of souls, Kailin, Little E, and Long E all turned strange. Yingying's actions had undoubtedly been witnessed by all of them, but because of Yingying's request to never tell Xiao, this became a particularly difficult matter. Where am I? Is this hell? Xiao slowly opened his pupils and couldn't help but say, You're awake? The devourer of souls nearby said softly. Devourer of souls? Kailin? I'm not dead. Xiao exclaimed in surprise upon hearing this. According to his memory, he had just taken a fatal blow from Yingying, suffering grave injuries and nearly dying. How could he be here now? My body? The next moment, Xiao seemed to notice a warm flame burning near his heart, and his internal energy began to surge. This sensation was clearly far beyond the mid-phase of the 7-star Do D realm. What Xiao didn't know was that after Yingying's sacrifice, she not only used the sacred flame crystal and sacred flame power to help Xiao rebuild his heart, but also changed many things inside Xiaoyan's body. Kailin, where is Yingying? Xiao seemed to notice that only Yuru was in a standoff with the Xinling King in the sky, while the others' expressions darkened. He couldn't help but ask, She's here. As Xiaoyan's wife, Kailin naturally understood his temperament and knew that it wouldn't be long before he uncovered the truth. She decided it was better to tell him directly. How could this be? Xiao sensed something was off, his face filled with confusion. Yingying has one last wish, Kailin said softly. She hopes to help her brother fully break free from the curse, and the Xinling King is the one behind all of this. Leave it to me, Xiao replied, his understanding gradually deepening. He had narrowly escaped death just moments ago. His internal power had been all but exhausted, and to survive the Xinling King's fatal blow, he had risked everything. His heart had been shattered, yet somehow he was still intact. In fact, his strength seemed to have surged, igniting a few suspicions in his mind. Yuru, come down. Let me fulfill Yingying's wish by dealing with this scum myself. Xiao called to Yuru in the sky. All right. Hearing him, Yuru descended. She had been unable to assist Xiao during his ordeal, as she was fully occupied battling the Xinling King. Without someone holding him off, everyone here would have perished. Little pest, I didn't expect you to gain another sacred flame. That's mine. Xianling King's eyes blazed with rage. Although he had exhausted a significant amount of Do Qi during the prolonged battle, as a perfect one-star Do Xian, he still far outmatched Xiao Yin. With a thunderous roar, Xianling King clenched his fists, dark red energy pulsing from his knuckles as he lunged at Xiao Yin. Huff, huff. Old dog, enjoying yourself? Xiao Yin sneered, easily blocking the fierce blow with a single hand, a menacing look on his face as he stared down the Xianling King. How can this be? Your strength, it's impossible. Sacred flames can't enhance one's power like this. Xianling King roared in disbelief as Xiao Yan's effortless deflection hit him like a shockwave. Xiao Yin, who moments ago seemed like a dying mouse, had transformed into an awakened lion brimming with unbridled fury. Boom! With a forceful push, Xiao Yin sent Xianling King flying back dozens of meters. Now, I'll show you the true power of the sacred flame. As the flame's wielder, I will destroy you. A narrow-hearted coward conspiring with the extraterritorial evil clan. Yingying, this time, I fight for you. Xiao Yan's eyes turned a profound, piercing blue, and as he spoke, his heart pulsed with a vibrant energy, as if rejoicing at each word. Fireheart Heavenly Rock, Ghost-Faced Soul Flame, Ethereal Ice Flame, Triflame Fusion, Ghost Demon Extermination. Xiao Yan's voice thundered as he took a step into the air. 3 distinct sacred flames emerged, then slowly fused under his control. His words echoed like a thunderclap through Xianling King's mind. No way. Xianling King saw the terrifying aura Xiao Yin now wielded. He realized that if he didn't act defensively, he would fall right here. He recalled the agony inflicted by Xiao Yan's 2-flame fusion, the life and death lotus, which had gravely injured him. With 3 sacred flames combined, he would have no escape, only death. You've committed countless atrocities. Now it's time to meet your end, Yu Ru said as she looked at Xianling King from the side. It will finally bring peace to the mystic 3 heavens. No, I can't die here. I haven't unified the mystic 3 heavens. I haven't absorbed the sacred flame. Xianling King screamed. Soul Orb. In a frenzied state, he unleashed a silver soul orb, summoning waves of immense power from within it. At that moment, the 10 Do Xians trapped by the Blood River Bell, as well as numerous other warriors held back by Long E and Little E, all broke free from their encirclements. Under Xianling King's command, they gathered in front of him, forming a massive shield. Haha, Xiao Yin, come at me if you dare. Xianling King laughed maniacally. I'll use every stronghold of mystic 3 heavens as my shield. If you attack, you'll be branded a traitor. Today, no matter what you try, you will meet your end, Xiao Yin said, undeterred. He continued to merge the 3 sacred flames and called out to the Devourer of Souls behind him. However, for some unknown reason, this time the fusion of the sacred flame was surprisingly easy, without the clumsiness of the first time. Xiao Yin didn't know that this was all thanks to Mu Yingying's reshaped heart. Upon hearing this, the Devourer of Souls did not delay, vanishing like a ghost. The next moment, he appeared in front of the Xianling King. Your strength? How is this possible? When the Devourer of Souls' energy appeared in front of the Xianling King felt an overwhelming pressure that made it hard to breathe. Hand it over, the Devourer of Souls said coldly with murderous intent. If the Devourer of Souls were to take action now, with his current strength, he could easily sweep through the entire mystic 3 heavens. What had happened before, with Mu Yingying's sacrifice, had been completely unexpected by him. Now, he was no longer holding back. Whoosh! As soon as the Devourer of Souls finished speaking, the silver soul orb in the Xianling King's hand was immediately devoured by the Devourer of Souls. Bastard! The Xianling King roared as he watched his last means of survival being taken away. Even if you stole the soul orb, you still have no way to control them. My soul power has reached the heavenly grade imperial realm. Unless one of you has soul power stronger than mine to erase the soul power inside the soul orb, even stealing it would be useless. Ha ha ha. Wait and die. As the Xinling King spoke, a sensation of soul power being severed came from deep within his soul. Impossible! Heavenly grade great perfection. At that moment, terror filled the Xinling King's eyes. Not only had the connection to the soul orb been completely severed, but the source of the terrifying aura now filling the sky was something he never expected. At this moment, the sky was filled with an indescribable terrifying presence, and it originated from a man in black robes. This man in black was none other than Xiao. At this point, his only thought was to avenge Mu Yingying. From Xiaoyan's perspective, Mu Yingying had been killed by the Xinling King, leaving the sacred flame for him. What he didn't know was that Mu Yingying had sacrificed herself to save him. 3 flames fusion. Since Yingying is the ethereal ice flame, then I'll call it ethereal tears. A crystal-clear, tear-shaped lotus seed slowly formed on Xiaoyan's aged palm. How could your soul power reach the heavenly grade great perfection? No, this is all a lie. The Xinling King exclaimed, watching as the soul orb, which had been devoured by the devourer of souls, was now back in Xiaoyan's hands. As Xiaoyan controlled the wall of strong opponents in front of him, they slowly began to disperse. The Xinling King couldn't help but shout, "Yu, take the soul orb and go down to release the control on the elders." Xiaoyan handed the silver soul orb to Yu, who immediately set off towards the figures below. The solution had already been etched into the soul orb by Xiaoyan's soul power. Yu replied, taking the soul orb and heading toward the figures below. Behind Xiaoyan, the devourer of souls, Long Yi, and Little E followed closely. Kailin and Yanqi were also leading a large group below. "Next, let's settle the score between us," Xiaoyan said as he lifted the ethereal tears, a manifestation of destruction, and prepared to attack the Xinling King. "Do you really think you can kill me? With my self-destructive power, the space cracks will open. Come forth." The Xinling King, unwilling to show weakness, refused to back down, even though he knew he had no chance of winning. "I met her years ago at the points capture competition. We both participated in the Xinling Royal Pool immersion, only to be severely injured by your dragon-slaying legion's Shinamo." Familiar scenes continued to emerge from Xiaoyan's mouth. Upon hearing this, Kailin below couldn't help but shake her head. "Yingying, you really earned my respect. Even if in the future Sun Air opposes you, I'll still help you." Kailin muttered, clearly moved by Mu Yingying's words, "I just want him to survive," and her selfless rescue of Xiaoyan. Such a wonderful girl, yet she perished today. So, Xinling King, only with your death can this all be commemorated. Die with regret, and your soul shall scatter." As Xiaoyan finished speaking, an overwhelming murderous intent filled his voice. The 3-colored ethereal tears in his hand, no longer held back, broke free from Xiaoyan's control and shot towards the Xinling King, who showed no sign of repentance. Fusion of the 3 sacred flames. As the Xinling King looked at the terrifying attack, his heart showed no fear. The ethereal tears, though resembling lotus seeds, were identical to human tears in size and crystalline silver transparency. However, within the 3 colors, they contained an immense destructive power capable of annihilating the world. The ethereal tears gently detached from Xiaoyan's palm and, accompanied by a soft, ethereal sound, surged towards the direction of the Xinling King with a sudden burst of speed. Space is solidifying. What a terrifying technique. As the ethereal tears whistled toward him, the Xinling King felt the surrounding space completely freeze. No matter how he tried, he couldn't move an inch. Fall. When the ethereal tears came within 10 meters of the Xinling King, Xiaoyan roared, and a terrifying fluctuation spread out violently from above. An attack of this magnitude, even a perfect 1-star Do Xian wouldn't be able to withstand it. "You two, follow me out and set up a defense. Otherwise, the entire mystic 3 heavens will be destroyed by this guy." The Devourer of Souls knew the power of the fusion of the 3 sacred flames was enough to destroy the world, so he did not dare to be careless. Understood. Long E and Little E immediately released their full strength, forming powerful barriers around the place where Xiaoyan and the Xinling King were battling, attempting to contain the intense fluctuations. Whoosh! As the ethereal tears reached the Xinling King, they exploded violently. The fiery waves swirling around carried strange hues of yellow, green, and blue, in addition to the usual fiery red. Ah, indeed. So strong. But I hate this. As the world-destroying explosion rang out, the Xinling King's sinister, malicious voice echoed. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of attacks shattered the barriers set by the Devourer of Souls and his companions, then shot across the sky, bursting through the Xinling mountain altar and heading toward the entire mystic three heavens. Retreat. This attack from Xiao Yin will probably reduce Xinling Mountain to nothing, Kailin said, watching the furious Xiao Yin in the sky, her voice filled with concern. Crack, crack. After the three-colored space tears from Xiao Yin exploded, the Xinling King was forced down by the powerful force, flying through the air in an instant. Xin Song. A desperate shout rang out, but after Xin Song broke free from the Xinling King's control, he was nothing more than a skeleton, no different from a corpse. Let your soul scatter among the ashes. Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed slightly. An immense soul power surged and attacked the Xinling King and the skeleton of Xin Song. Ha ha ha. Today, I admit defeat, but I won't let you go so easily. Space Rift. With the massive energy of the ethereal tears bearing down on him, the Xinling King slammed his hand. The bones of Xin Song shattered, and he shouted at the sky. Thud. As the Xinling King's voice faded, a spurt of blood shot toward the distorted space scorched by the ethereal tears. At that moment, both his body and soul were slowly pierced by the ethereal tears. But when Xin Song's powerful skeleton shattered, it caused the very heavens to tremble. Bang, bang, bang. As the Xinling King's body and soul were completely pierced by the ethereal tears, the sound of shattering ice filled the air, and the Xinling King disintegrated into nothingness. Finally, it's over. But the price. With the fall of the Xinling King, the Devourer of Souls slowly spoke. Yingying. Xiao Yin gazed at the dissipating soul of the Xinling King, his hands placed over his heart, emitting a warm, ethereal blue flame. Second brother, be careful. Seeing this, Little Li suddenly shouted in alarm. For at that moment, although the Xinling King had perished, the sky above had become fragmented by the Xinling King's final strike and the dark energy of the ethereal tears. With a loud crash, a massive vortex appeared in the sky above the altar.